Well, hello there, everybody. This is Funny Old Guys, and we got three funny old guys here, and we're going to entertain you and make you laugh and giggle and fart. Oh, well, you can't say fart on our videos, but this is the Comedy Thief. We steal everything you're going to hear and see today. I'd like to pass it along to Dr. Fat Packer to say hello.
Well, hello there. Yeah, jawohl. Say, there's a reason that we're all in separate states, and it's because of that fart stuff. Be careful.
Well, we're social distancing,
There you go.
big time.
There's a federal law against taking farts across interstate boundaries. Did you know that?
Ooh, no.
Homeless Charlie, say hello to the our wonderful audience.
Well, hello to the wonderful audience. Glad you're here.
I love your mustache. It changes every week.
Yes.
You know, he's got a sneezing issue, and that's a Fu Man Achu mustache. Well, anyway, what we usually do is before we get into our hysterical laughter, because we tell a lot of jokes, we have a pointed conversation, and the pointed conversation is a question. And Dr. Fat Packer,
Yeah.
it's a strange question, but would you consider cereal to be soup? And if so, why?
Oh, well, now that you think about it, I mean, it isn't a liquid, but, from what I recall, soup is made with by simmering or boiling meat or fish or vegetables. I don't think Cheerios is a vegetable.
Okay.
Well, it is an oat, so I don't know.
Who the hell came up with that question? Doc, Homeless Charlie, do you think cereal is soup? And if so, why?
Well, I think if you could put oxtails and clams in it and a few veggies, it could be very, very close to soup. Yeah.
Well, there you go. And what I found out, I went to the supermarket today. I found a new cereal. It's called Beef and Barley Crunch. So it's absolutely delicious.
You put that in hot water and you've got, beef soup.
Okay, we've milked that one. Get it?
I don't want it.
So, Dr. Fat Packer, tell us a quick, fast joke. We're bombing here.
Well, I found out just today that there is one country in the world that does not accept cash or credit cards.
Yes?
The Czech Republic.
The Czech Republic.
Oh,
Oh my God. Harry, or homeless, who has a lot of hair,
Charlie.
tell us a joke.
Okay, really quick one. You can't blame anyone else if you fall in your driveway. That's your own asphalt.
Well, there you go.
That's fault. You don't get it. He's fine.
So here's one of life's questions, gentlemen, and that is, if
Yeah.
you take a picture of a chunk of cheese, what does the cheese say?
Oh, that's a good question. Would they say man?
Dr. Fat Packer, go for it.
Okay, well, when I was young, I used to be in the Navy, and I was on this plane going to my next place, and this lady next to me, she says, "And what do you do?" And I said, "Well, I'm a naval surgeon." And she goes, "Oh my word, how you doctors specialize these days."
It's amazing.
I know.
Very pointed, especially. Homeless Harry Charlie, go ahead.
Well, the other day, my girlfriend, she asked me why I spoke so softly in her house.
Yeah?
Said, I was afraid Mark Zuckerberg was listening. And then she laughed, and I laughed, and Alexa laughed, and Siri laughed.
It was just a jolly old time. Well, I know this woman, she is so ugly
How ugly is she?
The other day, she went to the beauty parlor, but she had to go to the emergency entrance. I know this same woman. She is so ugly.
Again, how ugly is she?
She is so ugly that she went to the beauty parlor and she was there for 3 hours just to get an estimate.
Ba-da-bum-bum.
Dr. Fatpacker.
Oh, well, I was in a plane one day and there were only 3 people and we were going over the desert when there were actually 4 people and only 3 parachutes.
Oh,
And the plane started going down.
down.
And we had, the people we had on board, we had the smartest man in the world.
Yeah.
We had the best doctor in the world, that would be me. We had an old priest, and we had a young, nerdish type guy. And I, of course, I said, well, the people need me for my medical skills, and I grabbed the parachute and jumped off. So the smartest man in the world, though, he said, people need me for my intelligence, and he grabs a pack and he jumps off. The old priest, he says to the young boy, he says, I've lived a long, happy life. You take the last chute. And the nerd guy says, don't worry. There are enough chutes for the both of us. The smartest man in the world just grabbed my backpack.
Oh, the smartest man in the world.
Yeah.
Well, that's it's a big, it's not the fall that kills you. It's that big thud at the end.
That sudden stop. Yeah.
Almost Charlie.
Well, last week, my buddy's wife treated him by taking him to the local strip club for his birthday.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Whoa, wow.
Corbin said, hey, Jim, how you doing? And the wife asked how he knows you. Jim says, well, I play football with him. Inside, the bartender says, the usual, Jim? Jim says to his wife, hey, before you say anything, he's on the darts team. Next, stripper says, hey, Jim, the special again? Well, the wife drags Jim outside and they get into a taxi. And the driver says, hey, Jimmy boy, you picked up an ugly one this time.
Mm,
Next Sunday.
mm. Oh, yes. Divorce City, here we come. Gentlemen, I know this movie star.
Oh,
She has had so many plastic surgery operations that in her
Really?
will, she said she wanted to have her remains given to Tupperware. You're talking a lot of surgery. Dr. Fatpacker.
I had an 80-year-old patient who comes in the other day and had his annual checkup, and then I asked him, how are you feeling? And he says, I've never been better. I've got an 18-year-old bride who's pregnant and having my child. Yeah, what do you think about that?
Whoa.
And I thought about that for a second. I said, well, let me tell you a little story. Yeah. I know a guy, he was an avid hunter. Oh, and he never missed a season. But one day when he went out in a bit of a hurry, he accidentally grabbed an umbrella instead of his gun. And so while he was in the woods, suddenly a grizzly bear appeared in front of him. He raised up his umbrella, pointed at the bear, and squeezed the handle. Oh, do you know what happened?
Mm.
He said the bear dropped dead in front of him. And the 80-year-old says to me, well, that's impossible. He said, somebody else must have shot the bear. And he goes, well, that's kind of what I'm getting at.
Shot the bear.
No, go back to the beginning of the story. His 18-year-old, never mind.
I'm 82.
But that's also?
Almost Charlie, go for it.
Well, this morning I was downtown and I was beaten up by a busty woman in an elevator.
Oh,
And
good for you.
I was staring at her boobs when she said, hey, will you press 1? So I did, and I don't remember much after that.
Very, very confusing trying to translate that.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Well, I read an article about if you buy a dog, it'll cause you to calm down, to relax, and it will take 10 years off your life.
Wow.
So I decided to buy 6 of them, but then I changed my mind because I didn't want to go through puberty again. No. Dr. Fat Packer.
But look, it seems like I have to keep them a little shorter to keep your attention so you understand what's going on. Why do cavalrymen never carry cash?
Why
Because
don't
they always-
cavalrymen carry cash?
Because they always charge everything.
Oh. I got that one, Doc.
Very good.
Almost Charlie.
Well, I'll tell you what, my friend's wife said to her husband, she said, you never listen to me. You only hear what you want to hear. And then he replied, sure, I'll have a beer.
So much for that.
I like it.
Well, you guys know Alfred E. Newman, but you didn't know that he had many, many famous quotes.
Oh,
And one of
no.
them is, you know the marriage is over when your dog brings you your slippers and your wife starts to bark. That's when you know that it's over. So anyway, last one, Dr. Fat Packer.
Oh, last one. Oh, I can tell you about the cowboy then.
Sure.
This cowboy appeared before St. Peter at the pearly gates. And St. Peter says to him, have you ever done anything of particular merit? And he says, well, I can think of one thing. On a trip to the Black Hills out in South Dakota, I came upon a gang of bikers who were threatening a young woman. Well, I directed them to leave her alone, but they wouldn't listen. So I went up to the largest and most tattooed biker and smacked him in the face. I kicked his bike over and ripped out his nose ring. And St. Peter says, well, that's very good. Says, when did all this happen? He goes, well, a couple of minutes ago.
I like that one. That's a good one. Last one there, Homos Charlie.
Well, I think Coca-Cola should start making new flavors. Either
Oh.
put cocaine back or leave it alone.
Well, the last one I have, you guys remember Johnny Mathis?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
back in my youth, when I had this gorgeous date, and I brought her up to my apartment and wanted to get things very heavy duty romantic, I would put on a Johnny Mathis record. Now, the question is, when Johnny Mathis has a hot date, he wants to get it on with her, what record does he put on?
Obviously Sinatra.
So anyway, this is the Comedy Thief. We're done, but we're not done, because what we do is we invite a very famous person to be on our next video. And if you check in, you'll be on the video. And this week's invitation is to Babe Ruth. So Babe Ruth, we want you to contact us right away within 24 hours.
Do you realize that he'd be like over 120 years old if he came on our show?
Babe Ruth?
Babe Ruth, yeah, he was born in 1895.
Well, then instead of Babe Ruth, we're going to invite Dr. Ruth. So
Oh,
Dr.
okay.
Ruth, you check in with us within 24 hours, and you can be on our next.
You can get it out. I know you can.
And if you don't, you're going to go in the trash bin, by golly. So we want you to subscribe, and we're going to close.
Oh, yeah.
And let Dr. Fat Packer say farewell to our.
Well, auf Wiedersehen, everybody. Hey, listen to us every week. We'll be here tomorrow and then on Friday also. So come on in.
And there you go. So, Homos Charlie, say goodbye to our amazing, expanding crowds.
Well, goodbye to our amazing expanding crowd.
Okay, there, Dr.
Yeah.
Fu Manchu.
Yeah, he would
Everybody
be
wave goodbye. We'll see you next time out. Everybody wave.
Tschüss, nay. No, not yet. You still have to push that little red button off.
Keep waving. Keep waving. We didn't turn it off. Keep waving.